If you've ever been with a narcissist and walked away, you know that feeling of pride and that sense of accomplishment that you felt when you had the courage and the strength to gather all of your things and leave for good. But then they reappear as if nothing ever happened, and you start to wonder, does he really care? Did he maybe change? And you start to question yourself. But what if his return has absolutely nothing to do with love and everything to do with the pattern that still exists that you haven't broken yet? Because the truth is, it's not about love and it's not about missing you. It's about access and control. And here we break that. Welcome to the other side. My name is Kerrie Hudson. I'm a therapist and a guide. And this is where you become the woman who can no longer be chosen by the wrong man. And today we are going to talk about why narcissists return after you have left. And it sort of takes me back to this phrase from years ago when I was a young girl that said, why ask why, right? And, a lot of the times we want to know why people who misbehave or who abuse or who are toxic, why they mistreat us, why they act that way, because, the logical brain can't make sense of it. Why someone would lie excessively, why this person is abusive, why this person just flew off the handle. And the truth is, it really doesn't matter why, because this person is capable of doing all the things that they have done. And, they say the best predictor, of future behavior is past behavior. So when you have a history with someone, an extensive history, where they have proven to you who they are over and over again, and you keep asking questions to disprove who they are showing you are, you're sort of living in a bit of delusion, right? You're living in a world that doesn't exist. You are living in this space that you've created. Meanwhile, reality is actually happening right in front of you and in your life. And you're feeling every bit of it. You're feeling all the pain. You're feeling all the heartache. You're feeling all the confusion, right? There may be physical pain. There might just be the emotional pain, which isn't a just, right? Because the emotional pain is what leads to all of the other abuse. And you're ignoring it. And that's not okay, right? And that's not to shame you. It's to really encourage you to begin to wake up, because things are happening right before you and you are asking why, instead of recognizing that this person is narcissistic, right? And, it's sort of important to understand what narcissistic is. But narcissists aside, someone who behaves poorly, someone who engages in this relationship with you in a toxic manner, are they really worthy of you? Are they really worthy of accessing you and accessing your time and energy? So really, that is the question to ask. But it's hard to even begin to ask that question when you don't really understand what's driving all of this in the first place. Because as I said, there's a pattern that is lying underneath all of your relationships, and it's sort of like a stencil, right? You draw a stencil, you use this stencil to draw a picture, and you follow the lines, right? You stay inside this stencil, and when you lift the stencil, that imprint is on the page, right? And the same thing is happening in your relationships. You have a relationship stencil. It's a relationship pattern that you are laying on top of every relationship, and you are carving it out so that all of your relationships have that stamp, have that mark, right? And, the question is often asked, well, why can't I be in a healthy relationship? Because you won't allow yourself to be, because that doesn't fit your pattern. It doesn't fit this stencil that you've created, right? So if someone does approach you and they want to, be consistent and be emotionally available and tend to you and hear you and really get to know you and show you that they value you and they really appreciate you and they want to really love you, you won't let them, because that does not fit the stencil, right? And so you may be saying, well, what do you mean? Because there is a pattern at play, and you're like, well, what is the pattern? Because I don't understand that, right? I want love, and I get it. We all want love. But there is a disconnect between what love actually is and what you want, what you truly want. I think we all really want what love actually is. And then there is this stencil that is what we believe love is, or this how we believe we have to sort of show up in order to get the thing we actually want, right? When in reality, love just is, right? And you are just lovable, whether you believe it or not, right? You are just worthy of love. And your pattern says that I actually have to perform, I have to give, I have to be needed, I have to be exploited, I maybe have to be abused in order to be loved, right? I have to earn it, I have to fight for it. And that's not love. Love is unconditional. Love doesn't require the fight. Love doesn't require the struggle. Love doesn't require the stress and the strain and the performance and the overthinking and the staying up late at night crying and, feeling bad about myself or being devalued and criticized and insulted, right? That's not love. But it follows the pattern that says, I'm not worthy just as I am. And that is a hard pill to swallow, right? I can remember the moment when that came up through my healing process of understanding how much worth is built into this pattern, right? And part of breaking that pattern is understanding that you are worthy of this without this, right? You are worthy of this love that you so desperately desire and that you know would be fulfilling. And, these visions and the fantasy of the love and the home and the family and, unconditionality. But you can't get that with all of the conditions that exist in this pattern that you've been holding on to. So, why does a narcissist come back after you've left? Simply because they can. Simply because you're still holding on to this pattern that says, yep, you fit that pattern. You hurt me. Maybe that taught you a lesson. Maybe you'll be different. Maybe it won't be so bad, but I can handle it. I can manage myself. I can, sort of take care of myself through this, when the reality is you are not taking care of yourself by being in it. By allowing yourself to engage in this relationship, you are essentially abandoning yourself. And the narcissist is counting on you to do that, right? Because you've done that for so long from the very beginning of the relationship. This is how they knew they could lean in, because they sort of set out certain traps. They created the evidence that you were the type of person who would grab the cheese and eat it and be stuck in the trap, right? So the love bombing and, all of the pedestal placing, right? Holding you up and spending all this time and energy and gifts and this, that, and the other, and all the things, the early I love yous and the gestures, right? To convince you, to set you up to get in the trap. And then all of those things were swiftly taken away. Right? You're in this trap, and now where's all the love bombing? Where's all the attention? Where's all the value? Where's all the compliments and the love? Now there's backhanded compliments, right? Now there's insults. Now you can't do anything right. You're getting on my nerves. I need space, right? All of these things, and it's all your fault. And you take it. So why do they return? Because although they come back with their groveling, maybe begging and pleading, giving you all the things that you've said you wanted and needed while you were in the relationship, they are banking on getting back to that pattern, right? Where they can take far more than they ever give, because that's what takers do. And so when you are thinking about why he's coming back and why he's doing the things he does, this isn't about him at all. The question should be, why am I here? Why am I considering going back? What would I be going back to? Right? Because the reality is that yes, he has the choice to come back and to do all the things and to make it seem like he's, there for you and he's going to show up in this relationship. And maybe he does for a time, but it's only going to happen for a time. The reality is you also have a choice. You have a choice in terms of whether you want to go back and subject yourself to how bad it actually got. Because when you go back, it will very likely get much worse. That's sort of the caution here, right? Because if you stay in it long enough to go back, you're going to get the worst of it. Not immediately, but it will come. That's the cycle of abuse, right? There's a pattern that you can easily look into and follow. You can Google it, cycle of abuse, and you can see how your relationship falls into that pattern, right? And what you may not be able to easily see and diagram, and maybe that's something I'll do, is your pattern, right? Your cycle and how you engage with abuse. Because, as long as you're consistently being taken from and exploited and controlled, right? That is the telltale sign of abuse. You may not be being physically struck, right? And a lot of women don't understand that abuse isn't just physical. In fact, it doesn't start off as physical at all. Abuse is very emotional, right? And you deserve more. You deserve to have someone who will love you and cherish you and honor you and respect you and show up for you. You deserve that. And it is available. It actually does exist. I think that's the other catch, right? When you are willing to go back, there's part of you that goes back because you're like, I'd rather have this than have nothing. Because there's the fear that this is all there is. And the reality is there is so much more out here available to you. You just can't open your eyes and see it because of that pattern. You won't allow someone who's healthy and kind and generous and thoughtful to come into your life and stay because this pattern says that's not how I get love. That's not the way for me. Right? And what made you so bad that couldn't be the way for you? It's just all in your mind. It's the way that, and I hate to say it that way because I don't want to diminish that, but this is all conditioning, right? These are experiences throughout your life, starting from your childhood, that told you that you were not worthy of a wonderful love, right? One where you are attended to and your needs are met. And so I want to encourage you to understand that it isn't about them at all, narcissist or not. Someone who is willing to exploit you will exploit you, no matter the cost, right? And the important thing to understand about that conditioning is your parents or your caretakers or caregivers may have sort of conditioned you to accept emotional neglect. Some may have been conditioned to expect and accept emotional abuse as well, even spankings, right? Maybe not necessarily where it wasn't in excess, but when spankings became excessive, that might have also led to accepting physical abuse as well. But in most cases, right, your parents weren't malicious. They weren't looking to destroy you. They just maybe didn't have the capacity to hold you in the way that you needed to be held, to attend to you, right? They had all these other societal messages around, as I said in the last video, children should be seen and not heard, and all of those things that sort of drove parents' decisions and not understanding that their children needed to be met and attended to emotionally for whatever reason. But when you take that conditioning and you grow up and you take it out into the world, now you are playing another set of game. This is a whole nother ball game, and it becomes far more dangerous because you went from parents who didn't intend to destroy you, they just didn't know how to attend to you, to someone who will use you up because they could care less. All they're thinking about is themselves, right? Whatever it takes, they will do almost whatever it takes, right? And I've seen stories that have gotten really excessive to the point of women being killed for walking away or for whatever it is. So I really do want to admonish you. If you are able to walk away and you know deep down in your heart that this relationship was not good for you, one, understand that it's not going to get better and stay safe, right? Move on with your life, right? Because it is a blessing to be able to walk away from a relationship when you've been with someone who's abusive. So I do want to implore you to take care of yourself, because being with the wrong person can actually be far more dangerous than you ever anticipated. So I want to encourage you, if you are still stuck in a pattern, if you haven't been able to let this pattern go, I do have a relationship pattern diagnostic. I want to invite you to click the link in the description to check it out. Answer the questions. It just takes a few minutes and you'll immediately get an email response with what your pattern actually looks like. And we can talk about what the next steps are for you in terms of being able to dismantle this pattern and to create a blueprint and a pattern for healthy, lasting love. And so I want to just encourage you to take your life in your own hands. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.